Welcome back, everybody. This is Mike Oliveras from JurisQ.com with our premier divorce attorney, Alla Kurolapnik, who really preaches the benefits of using mediators in a divorce. Alla, welcome back.
Thank you for having me, Michael.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. And Alla, today we're going to talk about a few different topics, and one of them is using parent coordinators. Sometimes in a situation where there is a conflict, a big conflict about custody, you told me off camera, it is advisable to sometimes get parent coordinators involved. Can you please tell us what that is and why that is helpful?
So a parent coordinator is a trained professional that can be either in the profession of a psychologist, a lawyer, or some kind of formal training that deals couples in high conflict situations and who constantly have disputes about custody and access. It's unfortunately not as much of a widespread tool that New York utilizes in litigation, although there was a recent decision published by Judge Sunshine, where he ordered that the parents work with the parent coordinator in order to repair a relationship between them and the child that had been broken down, or so the parents alleged anyway in their motion papers. And, I like to use that tool in mediation as well. Whether I'm litigating a case or whether I'm mediating a case, I find that the best use of the litigant's time and the best use of everyone's time really is to be able to work with a professional that's going to be able to truly allow you to come to a meeting of the minds, or at least hear the issues, speak about the issues, and help you both resolve the issues, especially when it deals with your children. So I often suggest, in whether I'm working with private clients in mediation or whether I'm litigating a case, that the parties in high conflict situations, and especially where they can't co-parent, work with a parent coordinator to help them. If they can't learn to co-parent, maybe the solution for these two parents is to parallel parent, which is another issue that we should talk about. So parallel parenting means essentially when two parents can't really, there's just no way that they can communicate. They just, they don't see eye to eye on any issue. If one parent says, I want to enroll my child in summer camp A, and inevitably the second parent's going to say, I want to enroll my child in, summer camp B.
Just to spite the other parent, right?
Perhaps to spite, perhaps because it's more convenient for them, perhaps because there's a cost benefit, perhaps because they have friends. I don't know why, but we often come as matrimonial family law professionals. We come across these sort of situations where the parents really cannot truly, they cannot communicate. They have different styles of parenting. So where do you go from there? Do you deprive one parent of having a say in your child's future, or do you find a way in where both parents can have a say, but at different levels? So for instance, the example I just gave you about summer camp, in a parallel parenting situation, what I would suggest is, okay, mom, why don't you send your child to camp A and you pay for it for 4 weeks? Dad, you can send your child to camp B during the last part of the summer and you pay for it.
That's a great compromise.
That's called parallel parenting. In other words, they won't agree to jointly do this, but we can at least function on two trajectories so that they both get a say in their child's life.
Interesting.
Except they don't have to make the decision together.
That's very smart in a situation where you can actually do that, where you can split the time in two. But for example, what school to go to during the year is going to be more difficult. You can't do the same kind of arrangement, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Let me ask you, Alan, but for that parent coordinator, the cost is borne by the party who proposes it or by both? How does that work?
It depends. I mean, obviously, if you're in a mediation situation and the parties are mutually attempting to resolve their differences,
Right.
then in those situations, there's usually some kind of an agreement. We'll share it 50-50, or we'll share it on a pro rata basis.
I see.
In litigation, you know, a lot of the times I would take the position, for instance, like if I'm not asking for it, if I think you're just not making an effort to speak with me, why do we need another third person to
Right.
help us? Then you should pay for that expense.
Yeah.
Or I could be on the other side saying that, look, there's no way that we can communicate. This is the only thing that can save us, and I'm willing to pay 50% or at least a pro rata share so that we can have somebody. It all depends on what side of the coin, you know, and where you are and who you're representing,
I see.
what position you would take in court.
So in essence, parent coordinator, it's like a mediator, right? But one that deals with that narrow issue of custody.
That is correct.
Right?
Custody and access, right? So it's really, and it's more than mediators aren't necessarily trained, they don't have a mental health background. Some do. I don't, for instance. I'm an attorney. So
Right.
my background is, law school, and I'm a lawyer. But
Sure.
there are trained mental health professionals that function both as divorce mediators and parent coordinators and so on. So the idea is to work with somebody who can give you the guidance and the tools and sort of that I wouldn't be able to do, right? I can only give suggestions about what I think would help resolve past, based on my experience and what I know about the law and what the parties have discussed and what we need to address in any divorce in New York. Because remember, we spoke about that on a number of occasions. There, some reoccurring issues that need to be resolved in every divorce case. So that's what I would do, but I wouldn't necessarily dig deep and teach parents, parenting skills to be able to speak with one another, to give them tools on how to address these issues as they come up. To, for instance, when you have a teenager, which is my opinion, the roughest cases, because
Right.
they tend to manipulate the parents and they they cause more problems than anything else. And so, when you have a parent coordinator that can help with that kind of, that age group of children, and who could really let the parents focus on to hear what their kids are saying, it could come a really long way in helping resolve some of these issues years down the line when the attorneys aren't involved. Because otherwise, you're going to be going back to court every other year whenever
Yeah,
there's an
and
issue.
this fits in very neatly into our other topics, because this month we're going to talk about the big picture, having a big picture vision when approaching a divorce, not to concentrate on small details, but on the end goal, which is a separation that is hopefully more or less amicable and less stressful than going through a full-blown litigation in a divorce. So we're going to talk about a few topics this month. We're going to talk about also cheating. We've talked about cheating in the past, how it affects, for example, alimony or child support. Today, we're going to talk about also how does cheating affect custody. Okay, we're going to talk about also, like I said, the big picture vision and how it fits into the timing of a divorce to make sure that it is not dragged out. So please stay tuned for those topics. We're here to educate with Alla Kurolapnik, a divorce attorney with a focus on mediation, but this is all very general. If you want specific information, consultation on your case, on your situation, call the phone number of Alla Kurolapnik on the bottom of the screen. Thank you so much. We'll see you very soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.